Okay, AP13 Part 2. After the English Civil War and the takeover by Oliver Cromwell and the overthrow of Cromwell, they now put in Charles II so they could reestablish the monarchy. And Charles II was the person. And he believed in religious toleration and planned to convert to Catholicism. In an attempt to unite the people behind the war with Holland, issues of declaration of indulgence suspended all laws against Catholics and non-Anglican Protestants. Parliament forces Charles to rescind the act and passes the Test Act, requiring all civic and military officials to swear an oath against the doctrine of transubstantiation, which is an anti-Catholic legislation, because no Catholic will swear an oath against the doctrine of transubstantiation. The Popish plot, believing there was an assassination plot against the king to put James in power, opposition parliament members known as the Whigs try to execute innocent Catholics. Charles responds by executing Whig members for treason, converts to Catholicism on his deathbed, and leaves James the next king. Okay, now we have the Glorious Revolution. And this is where James repeals the Test Act and puts Catholics in position of powers and issues another declaration of indulgence permitting religious freedom. So this is an anti-Protestant, pro-Catholic move. Parliament's afraid of Catholic heir to the throne and invite William of Orange to invade England. James flees to France, and William and Mary, who are both Protestant, succeed to the throne in a bloodless, glorious revolution. Now, the importance of this is they had to sign what are now called the English Bill of Rights in order to take the crown. England becomes a limited monarchy, not an absolute monarchy, and permits worship of all Protestants but not Catholics, the Toleration Act of 1689, and the Act of Settlement puts King George I on the throne. The Act of Robert Walpole is he dominated English politics from 1721 till 1742 based on his royal support and ability to handle the House of Commons and control over government patronage. He promoted peace at home and abroad, spread trade from North America to India, built the military, especially the Navy, making Britain a world power. Walpole's efforts result in England becoming a military power with both religious and political liberty. And there's a picture of him. He's like the first Prime Minister of England, which shows the growth of the power of Parliament. Okay, now we get to the France. Years under personal rule under Louis XIV, he takes over the country upon the death of Cardinal Mazarin, key name, in 1661. Was an absolute monarch, but often conferred with councils and the regional judicial policies called the parliaments. Later curtails parliament's power, but is supported by some of them anyways. There's a picture of him. Notice the luxurious tone and how he's showing off his wealth with his garments and his grandeur. Versailles, critical. Louis XIV built a huge palace that was built for Louis XIV and housed thousands of important nobles, royal officials, and servants. The Sun King was into items that were as lavish and ornate as you can get, and this is called Baroque. And you can't be Baroque to afford Baroque items. Okay, this is his palace at Versailles. It's a painting, very famous painting. Versailles is absolutely huge. You can see the reflection pool in the back. If you look to the right, there's an amphitheater that plays music, and you can see the stables and all the accessories that you would need. He believed in the divine right. Louis XIV ruled by what was believed to be the rule of God, or divine right of kings. This is really important on the FRQ going there. Still, Louis was less of an absolute monarch than others, concentrated on making war and peace, the regulation of religion, and the oversight of economic activity. Louis' early wars wanted to secure France's borders near the Netherlands, Spain, and the Habsburg Empire. Treaties signed to end wars with the Netherlands and the Holy Roman Empire expanded France's territory in the north and the east. So this is an example of France becoming powerful. And so you can see the border right there, how he's expanding it. And Louis' repression of religion, suppression of the Jansenists, a religious order that came from the Roman Catholic Church, opposed to the teachings of the Jesuits during Louis' reign. Both he and the popes banned Jansenism and forced its followers underground. He revoked the Edict of Nantes. Huguenots were banned from certain professions, had churches and schools closed, ministers exiled, and Protestant children baptized. So these were anti-Protestant acts that he was making. This is a picture of his mistress. And Louis' later wars is the 9 Years' War. Louis went to war with the League of Augsburg, England, Spain, Sweden, and the Netherlands, and major German states, and ended up having his expansion into Germany thwarted, which means that stopped. Now, the War of Spanish Succession was a war over who would succeed Charles II to the throne in Spain, ends in a bloody stalemate, with France able to keep their choice to the throne Philip V, but they lose Gibraltar. France after Louis XIV, the Duke of Orleans is a regent for 5-year-old Louis XV and makes John Law financial manager of the kingdom. Law organizes a monopoly on trading privileges in the French colony of Louisiana in North America. The Mississippi Bubble, as it was called, turns into a financial disaster and Law flees the country. For every bubble must pop at some point. Parliament is reinstalled and becomes the center for popular resistance and royal authority for most of the century. Just a thing about history. When you have a 5-year-old king, that makes for unstable government. And there's a picture of him. Here's another map. And that's where we'll stop with this one.